All right. Hey, everybody. What's going on? Y'all, this weather, right? Like, isn't it beautiful? But this is always the time, right? That everybody's sick. How y'all doing? How was your weekend? I was sick this weekend and I was in bed all weekend long. So here we go. All right, guys. Hi, welcome to It's All Relative with me, your girl, Relly, aka Sherelle. Hey now. Um, Welcome again. It's All Relative, where I invite you on a journey with me of self-discovery, resilience, growth, my perspective, and storytelling, aim to inspire, educate, and spark meaningful conversations about life, relationships, and happiness. And as we embark on this adventure together, prepare to delve into the depths of the human experience and uncover our interconnectedness. Hey, son. My son is here. Hey, son. So what's the goings on? What's been happening? I went to see Kirk Franklin and the family on Thursday in Bridgeport, Connecticut. I had a fantastic time. It was pretty awesome. Felt like I had church. Y'all know I've been looking for the Lord everywhere, and so I went and had me a good old time. It was old school. I like my gospel like I like my R&B, 90s and the 2000s. Okay? So I listened to a little Kirk Franklin, and Tamala Mann was there, and she gave me my life. A little Israel Houghton, a little Ty Tribbett. So it was a lot going on, and I was like second row from the stage. It was amazing. So that had happened and everything like that there. And then I had a new baby niece was born, and at 6:40 in the morning. So she's beautiful. Mom and baby are doing just awesome. Again, I told y'all I was sick, so I was sick all weekend long. I was in the house, and you know what I did? I did homework and I watched football. That's what I did. So my honey shared with me his childhood like best or favorite movie, The Program. So I got to watch The Program, and it was super cute to watch him relive his teen years. He could almost cite it word for word, which was kind of funny. And shout out to Alvin Mack, right? Like, so now when I'm watching football, that's all I can see. I believe that the guys are absolutely like, you're the one that stole my mama's purse. Like, it's crazy. So that was pretty funny. And then again, football. I watched Deion Sanders in Colorado. At the halftime they were at like 20 something, and I probably would have gave up, but they didn't, and they fought back. So it was a good thing, right? The little rookie the freshman, he got to show his moves, so that was pretty awesome. And what else had happened? Oh yeah, I watched the Giants. I am not a fan, I gotta tell you. Like, Jones, I don't know, is it me? He always looked lost, whatever. And then, my little Jets, I really, really enjoyed them. And y'all, I did not realize the level of celebrity that like Taylor Swift was, or even just the crazy that people are. Because now that she's dating Travis Kelce, like, people are buying tickets to football games just to possibly see her. Like, that's wild to me. Like, I don't like baseball. Like, I don't like baseball. And I promise you, I would not go buy tickets to to baseball if I thought Beyonce might be there because she was dating a player. Like, just not that interested. So there's that. So, and also today, guys, I watched something on Instagram. Sexy Red was talking about how how the hood loved Donald Trump. I'm so over like this ignorance, and maybe we got to have a conversation about that. Like, enough. I don't want to hear nothing from Sexy Red. I just don't. Like, I'm not interested in it. Like, and please, like, in the real world, like, I need you. No, don't have an opinion. Just don't have an opinion. And truth be told, like, I think people are talking about like, oh, they're using women now to basically dumb down the culture. And I wouldn't say that, because I absolutely had a problem with ASAP Rocky and Lil Wayne. Like, so it's not women, right? But we just gotta do better. And I don't know, maybe we'll have a conversation about that later. And also, we gonna stop inviting everybody to the cookout. Everybody can't come to the cookout, okay? They cannot. Stop doing that. Don't do that. Um, So that's that. So on to the things that are going on. Okay. Last week we talked about standards and expectations, and that it's important for us to already have what it is that we expect from others. So this week, I thought we would talk about relationships. That's what I said. We would talk about communication in relationships. So then, and let me give you the quote. So the quote is, conflict is inevitable in any relationship, but the real test of love is whether you can move through it and hand in hand. And I do agree with that. I always say, like, fighting is necessary in relationships. It's a part of the relationship. A relationship that doesn't fight, that's a problem. There are problems there. You have to fight because we are two different people from different backgrounds. We're not always going to get along. We're not going to see it from one another's perspective. Like that, it just is unreal to think that way. So we need to learn how to fight. So I was having that conversation actually at work. Who taught us how to fight? Nobody taught us how to fight. You know, I could tell you, nobody sat me down and said, hey, this is what you do. This is, if they say this, you do that. There was no conversation. I can promise you, if my mother and my father sat me down to talk about how to fight, it would not have turned out well. It just wouldn't have. So I thought that today we would talk about that. What are some relationship fighting do's and some relationship fighting don'ts? That's what I thought we'd talk about today. So, according to the Thomas Kilmann conflict mode instrument, there are 5 conflict styles: collaborating, competing, avoiding, accommodating, and compromising. And I think number 1, it's important to know your style of conflict. And I think it's also important to know your partner's style of conflict, right? So, because it's just like, you know, we talk about the 5 love languages, even though that guy that started the 5 love languages, I think was his name Gary Chapman, like he's a racist, but we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to talk about, it's helpful to have a better understanding of what you know about yourself and then what you know about your partner, right? So you're not doing this, that you can actually have understanding of one another. So in the 5, accommodating. And so that's giving in for the sake of getting along, right? And you have to be careful not to always be the one that's giving in, right? Because we talked a little bit about codependency. So we don't want to shift the power dynamic in the relationship. So you don't always want to give in, but it is nice to give in, right? And again, move the relationship along. You don't have, everything isn't a fight, right? So, you know, they want to go here, you want to go there. If it's not really a big deal to you, then like, you know, hey, yeah, we'll go over here. I don't really care. Hey, M. Another one is avoiding. And that's not wanting to engage at any cost. Like, I don't want to fight. I don't want to discuss. I just don't like it. And I walk away. Well, you're not going to get anything accomplished doing that. You can't walk away and you can't shut down. And shutting down is like, it's just as bad as blowing up, right? Because I need to have someone to talk to. I need to engage. If you just shut down and you give me nothing but blank, that's problematic, and it's not as helpful or even healthy as maybe you might think it is. So don't do that. Another one is competing. Number 3 is competing. And that's when I gotta win at all costs. I don't care what you say. And now, right? And sometimes, like, I think, you know, in the internet world, we talk about how women, the toxic trait of women, they know that they're wrong, but they don't want to concede. It's okay to concede. It's okay to be wrong. You know what I'm saying? So don't fight for the sake of fighting and just having to be right. If you're wrong towards the end of the fight, it's okay to go, you know what? My bad. I see your point. You're right. There's nothing wrong with that. Collaborating. And that is really trying to find a win-win, right? Because compromising is close. And so what's the difference? And so compromising, we talk about, that's good enough, right? Compromising is, all right, like I don't want to, it's not a true 50-50. Maybe it's a 60-40. And collaborating is a true 50-50. Like you give up something, they give up something, you know, and that then is the true 50-50. Is collaborating and again, compromising. Good enough. 60-40. All right, no big deal. So there are another 3 fighting styles, right? Which is attack. So both of y'all just going at it. I attack you, you attack me, and nothing gets done there. You know what I'm saying? Like that, no, just no, just absolutely not gonna work. Don't do that. Would not recommend. And there's attack, defend, which again, right, on the battlefield, you know, they're attacking, so then I have to defend it. And sometimes, right, the voices get elevated, and that's not necessarily healthy either. And then silent, we've already talked about that, like the silent game. And y'all could end up, you know, in a really bad place, just really shutting down. So that's not healthy, right? We're around here giving one another the silent treatment. Well, how's that going to get better? Somebody's got to give in. Somebody's got to have the confrontation. Somebody's got to initiate the conversation. And again, I think also it's important. You got to know, what does this person come from, right? Like I had a client, everybody in the family fought, and they fought, like physically fought. When mom was mad with dad, they fought. When dad was mad with mom, they fought. So all my clients saw was fighting. That is how they express love. Like, oh, there's a disagreement, fight time. So it would be important for their partner to understand that that's where they come from, right? And so if I understand that that's your background, okay, we've got some work, right? And I've got to help them understand, like, I didn't come from that. I don't do that. I don't like that, right? So it's important to know that. And again, maybe you never saw fighting in your family. So if you never saw fighting and then you're with someone where all they do is fight, that's not going to end well. But it's okay that happens, and that can be the case, but you guys have to talk about it and go, okay, this is what I'm used to, and then the other person, this is what I'm used to. So it's important that you understand that so that you can also have perspective and some grace for your partner. That's important. And I think sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we don't give grace to our partners, right? Sometimes we think they should know because I know, so they should know. Newsflash, no, they didn't. They weren't raised in the same household as you, so how could they know? You guys, two totally different individuals, had totally different upbringings, totally different parents, totally different lived experiences, and now you're trying to come together, which is great, and that's wonderful. However, right, the important part is that you've got to have understanding and, again, give grace because of how the other person, excuse me, how they grew up, right? And wouldn't you like that? Don't you want a little grace? Do you get it right all the time? I know I don't. I don't get it right all the time. Therefore, in my relationship, I would like for them, right, to handle me gently, just the same way that I want to handle them gently, right? Cool. So, I said all these things. These are the different styles. So we can also talk about how, right, and some tools that I can give you of what to do. So what to do, you have to hear what's not being said. Sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, all communication isn't verbal, right? So I can communicate with my body. I can communicate with my facial expressions. I can communicate, with my actions, right? So if I tell you that you're really important to me, I really want to be with you, but then you tell me something that's really important for you and I miss it, right? I have expressed this. And did I say anything? Did I say, oh, well, you know, I couldn't make it because of X, Y, and Z? Or when you bring it to my attention, I'm like, yeah, all right, right? We have to pay attention to everything. We have to pay attention to what people say as well as what people do. But I think it's important to hear what's not being said. Sometimes what is being communicated, what someone's fighting about, that's really not what it is. And you got to dig deeper, right? So just really open up your heart and open up your heart and open up your ears to what's really going on with your partner, okay? And like maybe your partner's having a bad day and maybe now they're fighting with you and you can realize, okay, they had a bad day and they're just taking it out on me, right? Like, all right. And you can even say that, hey, I recognize that you're having a bad day, right? And you're talking to me a little sternly. I don't appreciate it. Or you can just let it be like, all right, you're having a bad day. I'm gonna let you have that one, whatever it is. But all communication, like I said, it's not verbal. So really try and listen to what's going on. Acknowledge their feelings. Acknowledge what is going on. If I come to you and I say, X, Y, and Z hurt my feelings. And you're like, get out of here. That's not helpful. And we are going to fight at that point, right? Acknowledge their feelings. If I say, or if someone says to me, Sherelle, when you did this or you did that, it really hurt my feelings. I recognize that your feelings were hurt, right? And I could also talk about that wasn't my intention, right? Because sometimes we don't walk around wanting to hurt people. We really don't, especially people that we care about. Somebody I don't know, yeah, whatever. I don't owe you that. But even then, I still don't think that people really want to hurt one another's feelings. I just don't. So I think it's just important to acknowledge their feelings. If they're coming to you with, their feelings, acknowledge them. It's not really hard. And it's okay to reassure your partner, right? And sometimes with everything going on, they need I love you. Sometimes it feels like, and maybe with everything going on or all the heat of the moment doesn't feel like, I'm loved. It's okay to go, babe, you know what? It's okay. I love you. Or, and sometimes people who have, anxious attachment styles, they need to hear that. They need to know you're not going anywhere. Like, it's okay that we're fighting because I'm not going anywhere. Sometimes people need that as well, right? So it's okay to give that. Sometimes you need to hear that, right? I love you. This is difficult, and it's going to be okay. Good, great, awesome. And then they know, okay, it's safe to have this conversation, to have this fight or whatever. We can have this fight because the other person's not going anywhere. So that's important as well. Also, it's okay to take a pause. I've expressed to y'all previously, like, I need to pause. I am not someone, you can't go rapid fire. Like, I'm not good. When people are rapid fire at me, I can't handle it. I need to take a minute. So I'll say, okay, like, I can hear you out, and I go, okay, I need to process this, and I can come back to you. And that may take an hour. It may take several hours. Like, you may need to go to your corner. I may need to go to my corner, and then I can regroup. Like, I'm never going to be able to read somebody because I'm not that quick. I'm not that quick-witted. I just don't have it. I have to process. But it's okay to also take a pause. And sometimes in the conversation or in the discussion or even in the fight, you guys could just be at a standstill, right? And that's okay too. So again, it's okay to pause. You know what? Let's just take a pause here. Let's just take a break. Let's separate, decompress. All those things are good stuff. And also, again, right, we talked about compromising. We talked about collaborating. It's okay to meet in the middle. It's okay to give up something and meet in the middle for true compromise in the relationship. So that's okay. And I am a huge fan of reflection. And what is reflection, right? If you tell me something and I'll tell you, this is what I heard, right? Or you can repeat back the things that you did hear. Okay, I heard that you were upset with the way that I X, Y, and Z, or when I did blah, blah, blah. Reflect it back. I do it with my kids. I do it with my friends. I do it in my relationship. I do it everywhere. It's okay. And that just gives a check-in to where you are in the discussion. Are you on track? Do you hear them correctly? Because a lot of the times we tell ourselves stories. I tell myself a story all the time, right? So he may say, you don't like to cook. And I'm like, what? Like, you got a problem with my cooking? And he's like, that's not what I said, but that's what I heard. Like, you got a problem. Now, I'm never cooking again. I'm quick to like give, I'm quick to give I'm never, right? Quick. So, it's important to reflect back. And then, right, if all else fails, what can you do? You can call me, right? You can call me or anyone, right? Sometimes we need a mediator. Sometimes we need someone, and I too have used the mediators, and maybe it's my girlfriends because that's where we are. Maybe it's his homeboy because we just are stuck. Maybe we're out to dinner and this could happen. We're stuck somewhere and we need a third party, and that's okay. So again, reach out to your good girlfriend, your homeboy, and if they can be impartial, your mom, your dad, whatever, have them come in. It's all right. Bring it on in and you can go to mediation. And again, you could seek a life coach and you could always go to therapy. All of those things are things that you could do. And there's nothing wrong. We all need a little assistance. So please reach out. So here are some, I thought I'd go with the to-dos and some not to-dos on the end. So again, the not to-dos, listen, when in a fight with your partner, and really you can apply these to really anything. It could be with a family member, it could be with a friend, you could apply it anywhere. It's not even necessarily just for relationships, but for the sake of today, that's what we're talking about. However, whatever. Never give the whatever. Oh, whatever. That's so dismissive. Don't do that. That's bad. Don't do that. That's going to lead to a fight. Don't do that. Not whatever. Okay? And again, that's ridiculous. Like saying that's ridiculous. No. Because again, you are dismissing what the person is saying. And it may be ridiculous to you, right? But there's a better way to say that, which is, I don't agree. That's okay. You could say, I don't agree, but to be dismissive, like, whatever, or, that's ridiculous. You're being ridiculous, or you're this, or you're that. Don't do that. Don't do it. It's going to escalate, right? It's not going to de-escalate. It's not going to bring the tensions down. It's going to heighten them. So don't do that. Also, I've told you guys before, never, ever, ever with the you always or you never. Because you're locking in and you could get caught up in, because they're going to get defensive about the times that they did do something or that they didn't do something, right? And you're going to get into the fight about that. That's not what the fight is about. So if you really are trying to convey something, convey that, but don't use the you always or you never, right? And another another tip or tool that you could use is in my experience, right? It's been my experience, or I've experienced you in X, Y, and Z, right? That's from your perspective, and that doesn't make it fact. But when you say you always or you never, that's you drawing a line in the sand and you are making it fact. It's not necessarily a fact, right? So there's that. And in relationships, guys, never say it shouldn't be this hard. It is this hard. Relationships are hard work. All of them. All relationships, they're all hard. We all aren't going to get along 24/7. It's just not the way the world works. I do not like my mom all the time. I do not like my dad all the time. I do not like my man all the time. We are going to fight. We are going to have disagreements. It is going to be this hard. It is. It's work. Remember, I talked earlier, we're two different people from different backgrounds. And even my mom and my dad, right? Like, and even my siblings, we can grow up in the same house with the same parents and have very different experiences, right? And you can't negate someone else's experience. So yes, it's that hard. It is that hard. We've got to work together. It's that hard. So please don't say that, right? Yes, it is this hard. It's work. You got to put in work, and that's it. You want it? Do you want it to work? Do you want to move it forward? I promise you, every successful relationship, friendship, whatever, they have to pour into it. And relationships, that's what it is. And sometimes fighting, yes, it takes work. You're going to have to do it. So yes, it's hard work. Name calling. Never, ever, ever with the name calling. Don't name call. Boo to name calling. And here's why. It's just like what's the saying? A drunk mind speaks a sober heart, right? Like, or whatever, because they're saying you really felt that way. Once the toothpaste is out the tube, you cannot put it back. Cannot happen. So do not say things that you will live to regret, because I'm going to always remember it. You say some craziness to me, I'm going to always remember it. I'm going to pull that out my back pocket and it could be 5 years from now. Because remember, you said that, X, Y, and Z. Don't say it. It still stings and it hurts. And I get it. I get that in the moment, maybe they hurt you and they might have done it unintentionally. And again, I know hurt people want to hurt people, right? Like that whole deal. Don't do it, because you can come back from someone saying something that was hurtful, but unintentional, and you cannot, that tit for tat thing. No. You cannot come back from that. That's very hard to come back from. So you have to stop doing that. You can't, that's hitting below the belt, and flag on the play, cannot hit below the belt. Those are some things that you might not be able to come back from. You can't apologize your way out of that. So don't do that. And then here's another big one. Here's another one. Do not put ending the relationship on the table. Y'all, don't do that. Don't put, well, because it could be over, because I could just sign divorce papers. I'll just serve you with divorce papers. I live for 90 Day Fiance, and honey, I'm so goddamn tired of Angela and Michael with them goddamn divorce papers. Like, lady, divorce him already, okay? I've had enough. But she touts those divorce papers over his head. And again, that's a shift in the power dynamic. And now, do you think he's here to be with you because he wants to enter into the States or not? Which one is it? Because, and it not, because sometimes people are like, well, they accused me of cheating, so finally I did it. Not in that, but in that. But don't do it. Don't play with the importance and the significance of your relationship. That's really what I'm saying. Don't do that unless you're really at that point. If you really want to leave, right, or you're thinking about leaving, then yes, that's a conversation to have. I'm at my wit's end. I'm really considering leaving. That's yes. But every time we fight, every time we argue, that's the thing that you tout. Not good. Don't do that. Because they're going to call your bluff because they're tired of that. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to be threatened because you're threatening them. Don't threaten me, right? And so sometimes we could be divorced just because you threaten me. Like, don't do that. Don't do it, okay? All right, good. So what are some healthy things that you can do and ways to have this conversation? Okay, it goes a little something like this. Directly expressing your thoughts and feelings. Right? Very simple. Don't beat around the bush. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. And I get that, right? Get to it. You said this, it hurt my feelings. You did this, it hurt my feelings. I didn't like when you did this because it reminds me of that. When you do this, I think that, and that's problematic. It causes me to have, trust issues or whatever the case may be, whatever those things are, could be. So, that is something, that you need to do. Just go ahead and get straight to it. Another thing, get to the root of the problem, right? Because again, what it could be, I may not trust you, but you talking about other things. And sometimes people can't hear that. You got to tell me. I don't know. Know what? Because sometimes when 2 + 2 = 16, that's because some stuff's missing. Don't leave the stuff out. Just go ahead. What is it? Now, what was it? Now, what you said? Now, what was going on? Yeah, do that, right? Hopefully you can find some middle ground, right? We're not always going to get everything that we want the way we want it in relationship. It is give and take. And sometimes you have to give and sometimes, you're going to take. It's just how it goes. So, make sure that you're open to that. And again, here's this. Assume that your partner has good intentions. Why else are you with them, right? Friendship. I do not want to be friends with someone that I don't believe has my best interest at heart, that they're not good for me, that they're not rooting for me. If they're not rooting for me, then I can't play with them, right? So assume that your partner has your best intentions at heart. And I know sometimes that's difficult, right? Especially if you've been in situations, if you've been cheated on before, or people haven't treated you well in relationships before, that can be very hard. But again, like I said in the beginning, most people aren't out here to hurt you. They're just not. So be open to people wanting good for you, and this person that wants to be with you and you wanting to be with them, like, yeah, they want good for you. They want you to do well, and they're not coming from a place of trying to get you. And so, you're going to be, your reception to them is going to be different if you think that they mean you well, as opposed to them not meaning you well. And I can tell you from my own experience with the guy that I was dating, I wasn't sure. And so it made me defensive when he would say things. I'm like, what? And I was ready to fight because I wasn't sure. And then when I got very clear about his intentions for me, and I began to trust him, I could receive what it is that he was saying. It didn't feel as spicy, right? It felt like he put a little, tahini on that thing, and I was like, what? And ready to pounce, because who you talking to, right? That's me. Who you talking to? Because I need to make sure that I ain't no punk, because I'm with all the shits. What's up? But now that I know that that's not where he's coming from, okay, I can hear what you're saying. Yep, okay, that tracks. Or I can say it don't track. It's fine, but believe that they have your best interest at heart. Okay, and another one, lastly, again, I statements, right? If you use your I statements, that takes all of the blame out of the situation. If you say, this made me feel, you did this, I felt that, that then is easier and there's no blame to go around. So those are the things. So what have we talked about today? We've talked about conflict styles, right? We've talked about they're having five styles. We talked about that, which were accommodating, avoiding, competing, collaborating, compromising. We talked about 3 different fighting styles: attack, defend, and silent. We have talked about the need to acknowledge feelings, reassure your partner, taking a pause, meeting in the middle, reflection, right? And we talked about what things not to do, phrases not to say, that calm down phrase, like, don't ever say that. It's only going to make people turn up. That does not help to dial them down, I promise. Okay? And we talked about healthy ways to have conversation, right? Like being direct, getting to the root of the problem, finding middle ground, assuming your partner has good intentions, and using I statements. And again, if you need help, right, it's nothing wrong with going to a mediator, a pastor, a life coach, me, and therapy. And I'll be ready for you very shortly. All right? So those are the things. And then I thought maybe next week we would talk about sex in relationships, right? Because there's been a lot of discussions recently about, well, if women don't want to do it, then why do they want monogamy? Like, whoa. Not too much on the ladies, okay? So maybe perhaps we'll have that conversation next week. Oh, Eb's here. Hey, Eb. She's new, everybody. Say hi to Eb, new mama. And she's doing well, and so is the baby. So you guys, thank you so much. I really super duper appreciate you for joining in, for being with me, listening to me rattle off these things. And if you need any assistance in your relationship, or you want to talk to me just about some thoughts, a situation in particular that you have, holla at your girl. SherelleEvansTillery.com, or jump into these DMs or message me over there on the Facebook. So I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you next week. Bye.